Morning students and parents. Once again I'm back here on this lecture where you can see me with this board behind me and it displays you the basic information about the today's lesson. Now the lesson belongs to the chapter 8 of our GSCB syllabus of 10th standard, where you can easily identify that today we are going to learn about the resources. Now in this time where you are sitting at home and learning virtually, I hope you all are fit and fine as well. I'm too. So describing the nature today in the morning, it is very much fresh, and apart from the nature, if you talk about the syllabus, it is also related with the nature, natural things and many more other also. So my dear students, in this lecture, we'll not only learn about the natural resources, resources of the food chain, resources with the energy resources, resources with the global resources or the natural, universal or whatever the resources are there. But we'll also learn them that how to protect that kind of resources, because to have the resource is not only the one thing. If I talk about the individual resource, if I talk about the universal resource, if I talk about the natural resource, they all are somehow God gifted to us, and some of the parameters where we have also made these kinds of resources where we can use in the industrial purpose, you can use in the man-made purpose, you can use in the any kind of other purpose too. So the basic thing is that to get a resource is not the most prominent thing which we need to understand, but to sustain that for the longer time, for the future generation, and also for the people who have not known about that kind of resource, we need to protect that out so that it can be reaching towards them also, where the country could be leading over the betterment of this nation. So let's talk about the today's topic. See, it is, first of all, I'm gonna make you understand the introduction. As per extra gyan, if I say, Mahatma Gandhi said that there is demand as well, there is greed also. Now apart from demand and greed, need is there. Human need can be fulfilled, but human greed cannot be fulfilled. So if human greed cannot be fulfilled, it means that human beings can be somehow going more than its greed also, or more than its needs also, in which they are trying to recover their own wishes, and then they hurt the natural resources, they also proclaim the global resources, and also they are thinking that all the resources belong to them only and it is furthermore not used for the other people. So therefore we need to protect these kinds of resources. Now what the textbook says? The textbook says that we need to protect this kinds of thing for the furthermore days also. So here physical and intellectual capacity are also one of the things which we need to understand here, from which we develop these kinds of resources. And apart from them, the uses are also there. Like if you talk about the food resources, the resources as the energy, and the many more resources also that we generally know about that here. Like for example, the land, earth, every part of the earth, like plant, trees, soil, coal, mineral, gases, and many more things here. If you find if I just make a diagram of the earth's interior part of that, we need to understand here that it is composed with several layers. Now in the center there is the core. If you know that core is generally made up of the this magma, lava and other compositions of the several gases. Now where we stand here, that is also known as the crust of the earth. Crust is divided into basic two parts. One is the inner crust and one is the outer crust, where the temperature exceeds somehow more than 15 or somehow 1000 degrees Celsius to nearby that. But if you talk about the crust, before the layer of the crust there is one more layer that is also known as the mantle. And every layer of the crust, the hard plates of the crust and many more things which are actually the sustainability base of our human existence, is also having some benefits if I talk about the beneficial things. Now you may have heard about the earthquake, you may have heard about geothermal energy, you may have heard about radioactive waves and all, and you have also seen that how the volcanoes are erupting, and somehow after the eruption of the volcano they are somehow laden with the other substance of, it may be lapilli substance, it may be diamond substance, it may be the rock substance, or it may be other substance too here. Furthermore they also are after the some time made as the coal too. Actually these are the general topic out of the syllabus, but I'm just giving you the extra gyan. But after that, if you talk about, we are standing exactly more than 6,839 kilometers from the crust. So that is our existence over the earth. If we exist over the earth, we need to protect the earth too here. That's the today's topic here. Now the resources are somehow related with the individual resources, universal resources, natural resources. The individual resources, where you can understand, it can be holded by a single person, it can be holded by a single family. Now cooperative sector, if I talk about, which is not mentioned here, it can be related with the more than one group of people. Okay, so why the human beings are using these kinds of resources? Because they know that these resources are actually in the first priority, where they can use these resources to generate the money. But apart from the money, if you talk about the energy resources, coal is also used. 2 to 3 names I'll tell about the 2 to 3 names which is very famous for the coal industries in India. That is Jharia, Hazaribagh, some part of Jharkhand, Bihar, and other part of Orissa too here. So my dear students, this lecture is not only to understand the energy resources of food, and many more things also. Today in this chapter of introduction, I'm gonna teach you also about that what is food chain. Now you may have heard and you have learned also in the class 7th, 8th, 9th or 10th that food chain, from where the small category of the animal is related with the big giant also, whether it is carnivorous, herbivorous or the omnivorous, or they may be the scavengers too here. If any food chain is disturbed, in that case of category, other animal, creature, any human being related, anything, any living thing which is related with the food chain is affected actually. So we need to protect the food resource too here. So students, we need to understand that here, that these resources are not only the resources. Now once again I'm moving to the third topic, which can be protected. First of all, I said these resources are not only the resources which can be known, it should be also protected. But now I'll move on to the third topic, that it should not be only known and protected, it should be also promoted. Means what are the alternatives for that? If you talk about petroleum, daily if you run our vehicle, carbon monoxide releases extra amount in the atmosphere, as you know that. So what are the alternatives of these kinds of resources, mineral resources, whether they are metal resources or energy resources, any resources here? So we need to also find out the alternatives of that. So I describe the first thing, I'll mention you here in my rough work, that we should know it. Okay, second, we should protect it, and third, we should promote it. Or we need to say, we need to generally take it on the more level, in which we need to generate their alternatives. Because in the promotion doesn't mean that you need to promote that resources only and you need to just reuse until they are going to vanish out. It also means that you are how determined to take out the alternatives of that. That is only the thing where I can make you understand that the key factor of the upcoming generations, good value of life can be generated. That is the key factor. So let's read about the resource as food, today's topic in the first term. So introduction is over, my dear students, and now we'll move to the resource topic as the food. We all know that food is the general compound which breaks into energy inside our body. If you talk about the plants, they also intake food, but not directly. They prepare food directly, but they don't eat food directly. What they do, they just take these kinds of energy or the food from the insolation. It means they just isolate themselves, or they said not the isolation, but they just get the sunlight. Chlorophyll they generate from the stomata. They also get this water and many more other natural compounds which are present inside the atmosphere. Furthermore, they develop themselves and they just how make themselves, and after that they produce the food, where they are known as autotrophic. So autotrophic means they generate their own food. Now we are dependent on that. Okay, so moving further, we can say various food requirements of the man are there, which are various remaining with the nature. That is fruits, if we talk about which is naturally grown. Various crops are there in the field like paddy or barley, or we can say like millet, corns, and many more things are there. And now if you don't know about the millet, that's like bajri. Okay, you need to understand. And in my lecture, if you don't understand anything, and if I'm unable to give you, or I'm just moving on with my lecture, you need to Google it also to find out the meanings of that. Say it is not possible to give every detail and the meaning in this lecture, but somehow if I just think that I need to give the meaning of that, I'll share that meaning also with you. So I was talking about the basic resource, that is the food resources. Without the food, the man is incomplete. As we can say in the caption, man lives for the food, but it doesn't mean that all the work is related only till the food. Actually, the work is also related with the development of your own, to fulfill your wish or to become bigger in your grade of own category or the position too here. So that is not the general thing. So but in the caption we can say that human needs are somehow after the zero, it is rotating with the food only. Means जब अगर हम रात को घर पे जाते हैं तो लास्ट में फूड ही लेना पड़ता है, सुबह जॉब से पहले भी फूड लेना पड़ता है. तो that's a general thing here. So it is also acquired not only by the human but the animals too here. So if I talk about husbandry, means animal husbandry, as animal husbandry is also one of the part of food chain of the human being, specially as well the growth chain also of the species which are rarely found or which are verge on the extinct. So in this case what they are doing, they just do poultry farming, okay, they just build up the big cow sheds, or they just use the cows and buffalo and the good level for the milk purpose, for the lactine products and many more products also. So this lecture is not only, once again I'm just explaining you about the resources. This lecture is also related to the resources with the energy, with the food, with the human beings, with the animal, and with the every living creature, with the every living body of this nature. As well plants too, they are also, like if you talk about the plants, like plants are not the 100% or we can say properly a living section of the body, no, but they are partially living. They are also having somehow the life inside that, therefore they are also getting the lifespan to survive. They also recover themselves like we recover. So here in the food, as I said you, aquatic animal, we should not forget about them in this food chain. Now aquatic animal, what are their roles inside our general days? Aquatic animal, the markets are there in the international market if you talk about, or if in the market of Indian market, aquatic animals, the fish or whatever the creatures are there, they are also needed to sell out. Why? Because sometimes they are used for the medical purpose, sometimes like medicinal purpose, sometimes they are used for the food purpose, and sometimes they have also been used as the fancy purpose to keep at their home. So what is happening actually, they are also part of our food chain, as we get more the minerals from the, like petroleum you get from the seabed. It's a general thing, the petroleum is coming from the seabed, it is not coming from the lands. Most of the resources, most of the time they are available, like 70 to 85% they are available from the seabeds only. So that you need to also understand here. So moving further, resource as the material, means if you talk about the iron, houses are made by the iron. Not only the iron, say this is the topic, don't be confused about that. They are actually having the good strength by the iron. So from where does this iron come? From where does this iron comes? Actually it is coming from the part of interior of the earth. Now when it is coming from the part of the interior earth, it is actually in the ore form. Now if it is actually in the ore form, it need to be refined out. If you don't refine the iron, what is happening? It will corrode very early, or it will go like not for the use for any purpose of the country or any purpose of the industry also. So we need to protect that kind of thing also. Let's talk about the general resources present inside the crust, like iron, nickel, bronze, copper, aluminium, okay, silver, gold, many kinds of other things are also there here. So the petroleum is also one of the resource which is somehow available from these source of energy only. So we need to understand that natural gas is also used as a fuel, because we need the fuel to burn our whatever the vehicles are there, whatever our we need to say that like kitchen materials are there, or any kind of thing. If you want to produce the energy, we need the fuel, because fuel is one of the basic part of the energy. Without the fuel, the energy cannot be produced out. So we need that kind of fuel also in the form of minerals, or in the form of petroleum, in the form of other biogas, in the form of wood, coal, and many more things are available as the fuel to here. Now if you talk about the energy resources, energy, there is a line for the energy. It can't be generated, neither be destroyed, but it can be move on, means it can be somehow going on from one place to another. How? Just due to some of the mediums of the transportation things. It can be stored, it can be generated, not, but it can be stored out, and it can be furthermore promoted out here to the another medium of the source. So here in the energy resources, if you talk about, various other energy resources are available in the nature. If you talk about like solar energy is there, wind energy, sea energy, wave energy, tidal energy, EPS energies are there. So what are these energies are actually needed out here? These energies are needed out to run any kind of small machine to the industry and power up a house to the village. everything is related with this energy only, because if the energy is not there, obviously there will be no source gain for the natural resources also, for the development also, and for the ownership too, as I said you. So we need the basic thing, that is the energy resources. So energy resources are actually coming from direct natural substance, sometimes they are coming from the raw materials, and sometimes they are coming from the agro based field too here, that we use as the energy resources. So in this case of theory of today's lecture, we studied about the ownership. As I said you, ownership can be individual, universal, or not the universal, but it can be somehow with the rare resources ownership also, or the solitary resources also, like transportation, then global resources too, and many more things which I am actually trying to explain you, that is ownership and transportation. And apart from that, we can say that, as I made you understand what is resource, what are the human needs, energy resources, and the industrial resources too, where you can understand that these resources are related with the daily life routine of the human beings, daily life work of the human being, and also daily progress of the human beings here. So these are the resources which I am actually trying to explain you, and I also try to make you understand that how, where, why, in which condition they are available. See, in the tomorrow's lecture, I'll also make you understand what are the solitary resources, what are the rare resources, and also I'll teach you that what are the natural resources, because these resources are related with the human needs, earth, and this whole nature. So my dear students, this lecture was today, that was the basic introduction about the resources with the energy, mineral, and many more things also here, types of resources. In the other resources, in the other part of the lecture, we will study about the basic thing in the forward level. So till then, what you can do, you can just keep quiet and just read at home, focus on the syllabus, and also if you don't find any kind of detail, you can Google it out, or you can take help from your parents too here. So till then, you can take care and also keep revising in my lecture or after my lecture too here. Now why I am telling you in my lecture, because whenever I am teaching you something, you need to focus and you need to revise for a second internally that what sir has told me. Okay, so that's a general thing which I am actually trying to make you understand. Now you need to revise after my lecture. After seeing this video, you just take out your book and just go through with that, learn all the resources, make this kinds of flow chart, and also you can go with this kinds of theories where you can do the rough work too. Okay students, so take care, see me in the part 2.